My name's Bryant. I lived in New Orleans, and I had an injury to my eye. The epithelial layer over the cornea was scratched. An interesting piece of trivia, that heals really fast, but I didn't go to the doctor, healed over some dirt, caused a big problem. They had to remove the dirt with tweezers while I was awake. That sucked. And as a result, I had a long recurring injury that was painkiller resistant. The epithelial layer would tear frequently, and I would have to use this steroid ointment and put all this goo in my eye. And the doctors kept telling me, if this keeps happening, you're going to have a scar. And if you have a scar, it's going to be permanent. It's right in the field of where the lens is. You're not going to have good vision in that eye. There's going to be a huge obstruction in the middle of your vision in your left eye. So the warning was, whatever you're doing to cause this, stop doing it. I'm like, it happens in my sleep. I just wake up and, The cure that they wanted was to use, how they do the LASIK surgery with the laser? They wanted to use that to burn the whole surface of my eye off and let it regrow naturally. And, given that the surgery that they did to remove the dirt from under is what caused the problem in the first place, I'm like, no, I don't think we're going to let you do that. So that was the only sort of traditional, normal Western medicine approach that they had in the bag to offer me. And it just wasn't sufficient. I just couldn't bring myself to let them laser my eye off or whatever they wanted to do. It sounded crazy. When I left New Orleans after Katrina, all my medical records were lost. So I started from scratch in New York, and I had good health insurance, went to some fancy Upper East Side doctor, and she's like, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but this may help you. And she explained that because of what it does for glaucoma, the pressure of the fluid in the eye, it reduces that pressure, and it took this tension off the surface, and it allowed the epithelial layer to get strong again. She wasn't really even officially giving me a recommendation, because in New York there was no medical anything at the time, but she just saw how much pain I was in and understood that, and I think I even told her that, well, when I was down in New Orleans and my friend gave me some marijuana, that helped more than anything. I mean, we're talking about the kind of pain that you just can't think through. I mean, I've been injured. I've been in martial arts since I was a child. I've had lots of physical injuries. I know what pain's like. This totally whole higher order of magnitude. So I would have clawed the floorboards up if I knew there was something under there that would kill that pain. So smoking marijuana, just, a bowl, it was instant. I mean, instant. The pain, I could take a Vicodin or an Oxycontin, and it would take like a half an hour to just take the edge off the pain. I'd take a hit of just regular whatever somebody had in New Orleans, and the pain would disappear within a minute, gone. And, once I understood the science of that pressure and the surface tension, it made perfect sense. I'm not straining that weak spot on my eye anymore. And I never looked back. Opiates were a rough ride. I didn't care for that. And having used them for a long time, even after the injury was abated, I still kept using them because that's the story. And it took a lot of work to get off of that. And if not for medical cannabis, I'm sure I would still be using them. I moved to New York. I lived in Brooklyn, Fort Greene, and it was the first time I'd ever had to do a drug deal. Because I didn't know anybody and I didn't understand, like in New Orleans, it was like friends had it or it would just show up. This is like, all right, so what do I do? I'm like, I'm an IT guy. I'm a white guy. I'm in this kind of like, changing, gentrifying neighborhood. It's, this was back before Fort Greene is what it is now. And I'm like, I need this medicine to save my eyesight. What am I going to do? So, yeah, I just kind of kept my eyes and ears open and was walking home, and some guy tried to sell me cocaine. I'm like, I don't want that. But if you've got some weed or you can get some, we can talk, man. And that we just hit it off, and that worked out. When the opportunity came up to move to California, it was a no-brainer. I was able to just transfer jobs, and I came out here, and I had my medical recommendation like the first month I was there, and it's just going to the dispensary ever since. It's been easy. There's nothing fair about the law saying that people can't have access to their medicine. I understand the politics and all the many layers of nonsense that are around that, but no, the fairness would be letting people do whatever they want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. I would like to see in the future people talk about medical cannabis the same way they talk about aspirin or getting a beer or smoking a cigarette or doing any of the other things that we do to help us to feel better in this crazy world. I would like to see it freely available to anybody that wants it or needs it. It's far less harmful than many other things that are far more accessible. So if I could advocate for anything, it would just be to take a common sense approach, look at the thing, and really, for the people who are standing in the way of that, I would just ask them, what are you afraid of?
Medication.